Yate, the Diné Hataałii Association, an association of spiritual, ceremonial practitioners on the Navajo Nation, extends their appreciation for this opportunity to share their indigenous story of strength in this virtual showcase. The Diné Hataałii Association is comprised of Hataaii, chanters, diagnosticians, herbalists, and traditional wisdom keepers. The organization was established in the early 1970s and is an authentic nonprofit 5013C. The goal and the objective of the organization is to protect, promote, and preserve traditional Diné ceremonial wisdom, to protect the sacred sites both on and off the Navajo Nation, to preserve Diné culture and Diné language. Their efforts led to the establishment of a resolution in February of 1978 that was passed by the Navajo Nation Council to prohibit the destruction of the sacred ceremonial artifacts. In 1978, the U.S. Congress also passed the Native American Religious Freedom Act, followed by subsequent amendments in 1994. The Hataaii Association remains the original Hataaii organization on the Navajo Nation. Since the 1970s, several other spiritual organizations have emerged across the Navajo Nation. Originally, the name for the Diné Hataałii Association was the Navajo Medicine Man's Association. However, that name was changed in 1995 to the Diné Hataałii Association. In 2003, Mr. Anthony Lee Sr. was elected president of the Diné Hataałii Association, and in 2016, Dr. David Johns began his leadership as president. In April of 2021, Mr. Avery Denny was elected to be the new Diné Hataałii Association president. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which began in the spring of 2020, this traditional grassroots organization transitioned from a monthly face-to-face meeting to a virtual meeting to ensure the safety and protection of the traditional practitioners and the Hataaii. In April of 2020, the organization transitioned to online meetings to ensure that communication among the Hataalis would continue. Some of the efforts the Hataalis engaged in were focused on the protection of their family, the protection of ceremony during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Hataalis spoke about the traditional interpretation of the coronavirus, the spiritual meaning behind the coronavirus, and they developed this proclamation to guide and to inform the Navajo people and also to protect the practitioners as they continued to practice with guidelines outlined by the Navajo Nation Department of Health as well as the Centers for Disease Control. The proclamation outlined the importance of social distancing, wearing masks, the use of PPE, and the Hataalis formulated efforts to gather protective equipment for the Hataalis. They distributed masks across the Navajo Nation. They continued with their herbal practices, sharing herbal medicine, sharing knowledge and wisdom through radio broadcasts and storytelling across the Navajo Nation. They remain the protectors of ceremonial practices with the Navajo people during this very difficult time. They offered their prayers of hope and strength. They offered their teachings to reassure the people of the Navajo Nation. And because of the lockdowns that were occurring on the Navajo Nation, the only means of communication occurred through radio and through the Zoom-based platform. The Diné Hataałii Association intends to proceed with their objectives to protect the sacred, to continue with the protection, promotion, and preservation of Diné cultural wisdom, Diné language, and the protection of sacred sites. We showcase these stories of strength. The keepers of the ceremonial practices on the Navajo Nation continued to practice ceremony and continued to share their wisdom, continued to offer prayers for the health and well-being of their relatives across the Navajo Nation. We are grateful for the leadership and the strength-based initiatives of our Hataaii, our wisdom keepers. As we enter into the winter of 2021, we reflect on our accomplishments in the year of 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. We overcame challenges with the practice of spirituality and with collaboration and with support from others. The Hataa'is make a living by the offerings they receive through ceremonial interventions. Their work had to be paused temporarily during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the Navajo Nation was one of the hardest hit communities in the nation. The Hataa'is reached out for support to help sustain them during this difficult time. And it was the community who came to the support and the aid of the Hataa'is. So we are very grateful. Buffalo Pass is the location of our soon-to-be Hataaii Center, where we will work hard on preserving all the teachings. We preserve these teachings for our children. We continue with traditional medicine practices, spiritual ceremonies, and protection of sacred sites and sacred spiritual practices. We will continue these ways as we move into the future, reestablishing Hojon for ourselves and for Mother Nature, Nahastan, for our relatives, and for the entire human race. We look forward to a brighter future. We extend much appreciation and gratitude to those who supported us and continue to support us into the future. Eheha to all of those who stepped up to offer support and advocacy for the Hataaii Association. Hojonahaskli, 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 Hojonahaskli.